it's another collab with, and then when I say with, you introduce yourself.
Yo, just say your boy Joss in the building.
No, you do the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
It's second of many future collabs.
Yeah, boy.
Alright, well, we're going on my count of 3?
Yeah.
Alright. Hey guys, it's the Survival Guide to Life with Amar, and we got another guest appearance with...
It's your boy Joss in the building from Zayzen Podcast. What's good with it? Peace, love, and positive vibes. Take it.
Yep. Alright, now on today's episode, guys, it's about labels and how to overcome labels, and specifically mental illnesses and that hurdle. So,
Yeah.
right off the bat, you want to just start it off?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 15. I have Asperger's, which is high functioning autism. And growing up, I didn't know I had it, so I thought I was supposed to be like a neurotypical, which is somebody that doesn't have any disabilities or any of that stuff. So I just everybody expected me to be a neurotypical, so I tried to act like one. I tried to act like a square peg fitting myself into a round hole. Like I like to call it, I was a shark trying to get into a fish tank, a fish bowl, if you know what I'm saying. So like I was copying others, like how other kids act at a young age, and it kind of carried into high school and middle school, trying to fit myself into a label because I didn't fit in, and having a label meant to me, it meant fitting in, it meant being accepted. So I would label myself all kinds of things. Like at even one point at 12, I labeled myself a nerd for some reason, but like that's just how I felt. I knew I was outcast, so I called myself nerd when I was 12. But you know, I tried sports, I tried everything, and eventually it turned into really bad depression because when I was diagnosed with autism, I was like, man, I'm never gonna be normal. I thought I like at the time, like guys, there is no normal.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what is normal? Who can define what normal is?
Yeah, you know? That's one reason I do these podcasts, because I want everybody to know that everybody has a special purpose on this earth. They were sent to this earth for a reason. Like, you may be a great philosopher, a great scientist. You don't have to be like everybody else. You just be yourself.
And that's all you need to be. Like, everyone's trying to be someone else, or like they're like living this fake life on social media. Like, you know, they're trying to be something they're not, when all they need to be is be themselves. And like, that's all anybody wants them to be, because like, if you're not yourself, then how can someone learn from you?
Yeah. So it turned into really bad depression, and
what was your mindset, and like, what were like some of the thoughts running in your mind?
Man, I was depressed. I didn't know anything about the things I know now. I was chasing after like such materialistic things. Like, I wanted to be a rapper because that's the closest thing that was like the closest thing to like different at my school, and like I still strive to be different, but I wanted to be like everybody else. Like, everybody wants to fit in. Everybody wants to be loved. So there's this rapper named Swindle at my school, and I tried to be like him. I tried rapping like about hoes, these cars, money, designer, and that's not me at all. I just tried rapping about that. That was my mentality, is just copying people.
Then how did you like kind of like deprogram your mind from that like mentality?
Man, it all started from a breakup, actually. So at the time, like, I couldn't love myself at all. Like, I had no self-love at all, and so I would strive for another person to love me because I couldn't love myself at all. And so there's this person. Oh, what were you saying?
No, sorry to cut you off. Continue. I'll wait till you're done.
Yeah, there's this girl I dated for like a few months. I didn't know at the time, like, you don't really know when you're being manipulated, and it's harder when you have autism because it's a social disorder.
No, I understand. One of my really good friends has Asperger's.
Yeah. So I was dating this girl, and she would do like sweet things. Like, I had a fidgeting problem, like a lot of people do, and whenever I was
fidget spinners, when they came out, did you try them?
Oh yeah, I was all about the fidget spinners, all about them. But she would do like cute things, like she would hold my hands, and I was like she was like fidget with my hands, and I thought, oh, she understands my autism and stuff, like she really gets me. But you know, I found out she cheated on me like 3 to 6 times.
Bro, I'll tell you something. Like, even in my history, really quick before you continue.
Yeah.
I've had girls do that, and like, it's right now the image society portrays for a woman is like, you know, she can have multiple relationships.
Yeah,
without him knowing. You know, she can have like 10 boyfriends, because why 10's better than 1, you know? She's getting like extra things like that.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Like, you know what I mean? So like, continue what you're saying, and then like touch on what I said after.
Yeah, so I know what I'm gonna say to that in a little bit, but I just was so depressed. Like, the day she broke up with me, I just didn't know what to do with life. Like, I just thought, wow, I don't love myself. She doesn't love me. Man, like, none of my friends accept me because all my friends were so fake. They were all in the Matrix. They didn't ask me how my day was. They just asked, hey, do you want to smoke up with me? Hey, do you want to go to this party with me? And I was a good Christian boy. I didn't want to do that. And so, you know, I honestly, bro, I was going to kill myself because I just felt so unloved. Like, I told my mom, like, yo, I'm having suicidal thoughts. And, you know, we went to, like...
I've been there myself. Bro.
Yeah.
You know, I've had those same exact thoughts. But, you know, there are always better days.
Yeah. So, I eventually I overcame those thoughts, but... This is a story about labels. So, like, it forced me to a point I was so stuck, so low, that the only thing I could do was better myself.
Okay. Like, how did you start to like better yourself?
You know, I would work on my image a lot because I had a lot of self-confidence issues. I mean, this was about, I want to say, a year ago and a half. Like, I really changed, like, a lot, where I wanted to start my own podcast, so things drastically changed. But it was about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I want to say. What was the question again?
No, just like, how did you like get yourself out of this, like, I want to kill myself mindset to, like, I love myself, I'm amazing, you know, like, let me give the world what I have and, like, get back from it.
Man, it started with a spiritual awakening, and I still had self-confidence problems back then, like when I first started, especially when I went through the dark night of the soul. It was after I went through the dark night of the soul where I came to realizations. You know what that is?
No, I don't. You explain.
The dark night of the soul, there's many reasons, but the one I identify with, the reason I went through the dark night of the soul, it's a state of spiritual depression, and I had no idea why. And I realized it's because I had all this past trauma bottled up inside of me from so many people manipulating me, doing all kinds of stuff that I'm not comfortable with talking about. But yeah, I didn't forgive them at all. I just repressed the emotions. I never talked about it at all. So really, I had to forgive them, realize hurt people, and I realized that I had trauma for a reason, and that's part of it, and the label part was a big part of my depression. So I had many therapists and counselors because of autism and depression, and you ever like how there's like counselors have stereotypes, like there's a hippie counselor, there's the new age counselor, there's
when I was young myself, I had my family, take me to therapists and psychologists, trying to find something wrong with me, but there was nothing wrong with me,
Yeah.
It was just trying to it was just like I was the black sheep.
So I stereotype this this counselor as like the not new age, but like I want to say hippie counselor, and she told me like I had a big problem with my ego, like I have really bad OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Yeah. And she told me like I just need to detach from my ego. I was like, it all started when I said I'm so afraid of death. What if I don't make it to heaven? And she said that's the ego. As soon as I realized that thought was the ego, so many things made sense. Like all my thoughts, I just observe them, recognize that they're from fear, and most of the time the thoughts you're fearful of never happen.
Say that again, bro. You cut out.
Okay. Once I realized that my thoughts were my ego, my whole life changed. Yeah. Like, most of my thoughts I had weren't actually going to happen. Fear is false evidence appearing real.
Yeah, no, like, the law of thought, like, I want you to check out this book. I keep preaching this book. It's like, this book it changed my life. It's called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life by Brian Tracy. But in that book, he says there's a law of thought, and we could either have a positive thought or a negative thought, but we can only have one thought at a time, and we can choose to replace that negative thought with a positive one. Like it's all our outlook and the way we think.
Definitely.
The way we think is the way we are.
Are you familiar with the philosophy of Lao Tzu, Taoism?
Yeah.
That is what changed my life so much. Like the whole non-duality. Like we have to be whole. Some days we'll be sad. Sometimes we'll be happy. Some days we'll be active. Sometimes we'll be lazy. And knowing that, and knowing that every energy I ever had taught me a lesson, that helped me so much to just accept my thoughts, because I had trouble accepting my thoughts, especially in meditation. Like I just get so frustrated all the time. And so it helped me understand, hey, this thought's gonna help you. Every energy teaches you a lesson, so that really just detaching from my ego healed me so much. And there's so many philosophies that helps me to love myself, like knowing that we are all connected. Like that's a powerful thought, knowing that we are nature expressing itself.
Yeah.
That makes me smile and stuff, bro. Like that's how I get through some of my hardest days. Like, no one is better than us because we're all from the same source. We can be as great as somebody else.
Yeah, the only thing holding you back is your own self-doubt.
Yeah, it's your self-limiting beliefs. And another thing that's helped me so much is the law of attraction. When I feel in a bad mood, you put positive vibes out there.
Yeah, bro. Have you heard of the Secret?
Yeah, I watched half of it.
Dude, when somebody gave that to me in high school, like, and after, one of my first DMT experiences, like, I watched The Secret, and like, that, like, from that moment on, I was like, man, my thoughts or like my negativity was the only thing that was like bringing all these problems in my life.
Yeah, I realized that. Attaching myself to I'm a minimalist now. Do you know what that means?
I've heard that like name thrown around here or there, but like I'm not like I can't like put a proper definition to it.
So it's like you only have what you need. Like at the time when I first became a minimalist, I literally slept on a yoga mat. I was like extreme.
Oh, bro, hey, bro. Thank you. Then and I would say I am a minimalist too, because like I had that problem where like like just buying shit you don't need,
Yeah.
and like hoarding shit, or like we're in a society now where like like, oh, let me flex real quick,
Yeah.
like, or like doing all this extra stuff. Like I see people like taking their like Snapchat picture or like Instagram picture to like flex the shit they just bought, and like putting it in a certain, like going the extra mile just to take the picture. Like, dude, nobody cares. Like,
Yeah, and they're
you
sad.
like
That's the thing. Like, they're not happy.
yeah, no, they're not. Like, you can't, like, the more, like, no matter how much shit you buy, you're never gonna fill that void, that emptiness. The only way you could fill that is from within.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And like the problem I feel like now is that these things, like, it's like nature versus nurture, like it's not addressed, and like the schools don't know how to like look for it. But like these shows, these podcasts, like it's gonna help the kids, like kids who are your age and didn't have something like this to listen to. That's how we can get back.
That a lot of that stuff helps me cope. Like, do you ever listen to like No Jumper with XXX Tentacion on the podcast ever?
Oh, hell yeah! I love No Jumper. I'm big on No Jumper. Yes.
Yeah, when I'm feeling down or alone, I just listen to X because he has the wisest quotes ever.
Dude, X is the man. Like, what's one of his wise quotes that like resonates with you?
Something about how he can't love because it's like, it's kind of, I'm trying not to think that way anymore. Okay, I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. Oh my gosh, I don't know why.
No, it's all good, bro. You're gonna post it on the description later.
Okay, yeah. I have a favorite song though.
It's all good. Yeah, no. Let's get back to this now. Like, let's go into like now labels. Like, like, oh, I wanted to be like a nerd, or you got like someone, he's like, man, I'm trying to get a girl, so I'm gonna like try to join the football team, be a jock. And like, like, let me tell you. So I grew up in the city of Chicago. I did my freshman and sophomore year in like the most ghettoest like school, filled with gangs, like poor education, like. And then now fast forward my junior and senior year, I moved to like suburbia with completely different like social scene, like
I can imagine.
Different, like they had a fucking Subway in the cafeteria, like literally a Subway, and like that's when I really saw the labels. Like, you'd see like the drama club together, like the popular kids together, you'd see like the smokers together, and then you'd see like the soccer kids together, but like nobody ever mixed with anybody. But like one thing with me was, even though I was alone, I was with every other group. I didn't chill with those groups together, but me, my individual self, was with every group. And like I noticed that, I was like, man, why are these people like owning up to this like image? And like, if you look at have you ever seen the movie Mean Girls?
I have not.
All right, so I have two sisters, so like that's why I watched it. But like in that movie, she literally tells you, oh, okay, you're coming in the cafeteria, this is like the jocks, these are the Asian nerds, these are the cool nerds. Like these labels that people give people, like like how can we like tell, like like these society, like just don't listen to it, don't like like in one year out the other. Like the only opinion that matters is your opinion of yourself.
I totally agree with that.
Because, dude, if you think about it, everyone has an opinion. Like, everyone has an opinion.
The thing
like,
is, most people that judge you don't even know what they think of themselves totally. So why should you base your opinion off of what they think of you if they don't even know themselves?
Yeah, and like, what basis are they going off themselves? You know,
Yeah.
and majority, like, if they're trying to like come down or like try to like say something, it's just out of their own self hate.
Very true. Yeah, and when like somebody's like says something, like I learned recently that when somebody says something to you and it kind of triggers you and you go off on them, it's because you have something repressed inside of you need to take care of.
Exactly, you're 100% right. And like I had that problem, and like I didn't realize it, and like I was just like wondering, like why am I like getting riled up or like lashing out or like trying to like fight like for like stupid things. I
Yeah,
don't like I should someone's there's no one should ever be able to change your state or your mantra, like your energy, just like someone else's emotions. You should always be able to stay at that same zen.
yeah, your zen is a birthright.
Yeah, you like you owe it to yourself. Like it's so like like Joe Rogan was saying, like we've like taken all these like technological advances, like sending robots to Mars and like electric cars, but like we've like devolved as like humans and like become like fucking cavemen again. Like it's like
Yeah,
such a it's like so weird.
imagine if like people put the same time they did into posting a picture into their self-care routines.
Dude, I think the world would be a fucking amazing place. Like, it's like the amount like you take to like, edit a photo before you post it. You take that same amount of time to like own your mindset. Like, oh,
Yeah,
why am I sad right now? Like, like, dude, there are people in like Syria that don't have like houses. They're getting bombed. Like their sisters are dying. Like they're like living in one bedroom like rooms with not even a bathroom. Like, and I'm sad, dude. I have it good. I'm good. Like like I'm actually like in an amazing place. Like
yeah,
compared to other people. Like the problem is we always look at those who are above us rather than those who are below us.
yeah.
Like instead of being appreciative, we're always being like unappreciative. Like, oh, I don't have this, rather than look at all I have. When if you did think in abundance, it will come back.
Yeah, one thing I'm working on right now is like not comparing myself to other guys, like just taking gratitude for what I have.
You can't like you're your own person, and you have to like find that your individuality and like show it off to the world and be like, yo, this is who the fuck I am, and this is why you need to know who I am.
Yeah, you gotta have some pride to yourself,
Yeah, like it's like some self confidence. It's not like ego or
but
arrogance,
not
but
be
like
like, yeah, not be like cocky though.
yeah, it's not. You just gotta have humility with everything, but you
Yeah,
just gotta.
yeah.
You know what I'm going, but so like, what's your take with this whole like high school, like life and like labels and groups and like how can we like fucking just like like not execute, like kill it? Like how can we destroy this and like change it and be like, yo, let's all come together and like fucking be like one family?
Yeah, you just have like people like are so like the thing is like they don't really take time to like know who they are. They don't like care to know who they are. They don't care to like look at philosophy and stuff. Like that's what really helped me realize that we were all one and that like we all bleed red. I said it in the last podcast. Like we all have to drink H2O. Like we're all connected in certain things. Like we can find at least one thing to relate to, and the biggest thing is realize you are not your thoughts.
No, you're not. Like you're not your thoughts. I mean, you are your thoughts, and you're not in the same way, if that kind of makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
you are what you think about, but you are what you think about, but you can choose what to think about. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But
So,
like I see you can't you are your thoughts, like, because like your thoughts make reality, but at the same time you're not really your thoughts. You're just observing your thoughts. You're your higher self.
alright, sorry about that. Someone was just calling.
Oh, it's cool.
Alright, yeah, continue what you're saying.
I was saying you are your thoughts because you what you put out into the universe. I mean, you are your thoughts because your thoughts create reality, but at the same time you're not really your thoughts because you're your higher self. You're observing your thoughts if you choose to be your higher self.
Yeah, you have to choose to be your higher self and strive to be your higher self. Like, like self mastery is hard. Like, it's brain development. It's like repetition. Like going to the gym. If you're like an ectomorph, like there's like 3 different body types. Like either you're really skinny and it's hard for you to gain weight, or you're in between fat and skinny, and you could fucking add some pounds quite easily, and then you could be like super fat and like hard to lose weight,
Yeah, I feel you.
But like going into the gym and like putting in that effort, it's not like you're gonna go to the gym one day and like, all right, in 2 weeks I'm gonna go again, and then now June I'm gonna be yoked up and jacked. It takes consistent effort and repetition, and just like how you like strive for that physical body, you got to put that repetition and that effort to like develop and your brain and like gain this self mastery, like how to be the best of your, like how to be your best self, how to be the best you.
You just gotta realize that Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly, bro. I always say that Rome is, and then what I tell people, like, they're like, oh, I'm not at my top yet, like I'm not doing it. Like, bro, that all that means is you're in your renaissance right now. You're coming out the dark ages. You're coming out the dark ages.
Yeah.
Like, with you learned in physics, like with every positive, there's a
negative.
Yeah, like, so with life, it's not like one like constant, like it's not like straight up success. It's not like down. It's like a mix of like roll, like up and down, and like you gotta like realize that, and like be able to have like that same mindset. Like, like for example, like a lot of people, like I tell people, like when with death especially, like people like cry over family and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm saddened too. Like I had my best friend die when I in 4th grade. Like that was a big shock. I was in 4th grade. My best friend died from like a freak accident. Like what happened was like his mom left him home alone, like at like the age of 6 or 7, and like he was like classified with someone who has like ADD. Like that's what I was labeled as. I was labeled as a kid who had ADD. So he was like really hyperactive, and we were in karate. So he took his karate belt and he like tied it on the bunk bed and was just trying to do flips. I don't know why he was trying to do flips. He's a kid, but like a freak accident happened and he got entangled and he like strangled himself, and like his mom came back to him being strangled, and like I got a call one day, like, Mom, I come home, my mom's like, sit down, and she's like, your friend died. Like, I didn't understand. I was like, what? What's death? And like after that, I like realized, like everyone like has their time that they're meant to go. Like no matter what, like like whether it be like you see Final Destination, right? You've heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Like all I'm saying is like your time will come. Like like don't like dwell on people's deaths or like dwell on all this negativity. Like someone like died. Like like keep their life, like honor their life. Like live their legacy. Like what was their legacy, and like have the world remember their legacy for eternity.
Yeah, like if I died, I wouldn't want people to be sad. I'd want them to be like, bro, he was an awesome person, and I want to be like X, bro.
No, you don't want to be like X, bro. You want to be like you. You know? That's
Okay,
what
okay, bad example, bad example. But you get what I
no,
mean.
I get what you're saying though, bro. He's your inspiration.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I mentioned him. Like really big influences. First one right off the bat, because like I love to play guitar, and like a lot of his music is like rapping and guitar, and like I'd like try to push that a lot.
yeah,
But and like the problem is like everyone's so programmed into the matrix, like into like the way society has had them to think, like to say these things, like they start like getting angry and like getting all these like thoughts, and like they're just like trying to like prove you wrong rather than like own up to it.
yeah. I feel
Am I
that.
right?
You're right. Like from what I'm hearing, you have to be. You can
But
have inspirations, but you have to be yourself at the same time.
yeah, you can have inspiration and like use that inspiration to drive you to like find your uniqueness and like find other people to be like, yo, I want to be like Josh. That's my inspiration.
Yes, sir. I say it is actually Josh, but you can call me Josh.
Oh, sorry, bro, my
It's
bad.
it's cool. It's
Oh no,
cool. It's
my
my
name's Amar, but like my name's Amar, but I just go by Omar just because it's easier and like I don't want to confuse people.
yeah.
Man, so you said you were gonna touch on that girl topic, but like we didn't get to that.
Oh yes. Oh, what about that?
The fact that like nowadays like society set it up for women to think that it is okay to manipulate a man and have multiple relationships at once.
Yeah, it's not okay at all. Like, bro, I'm considering going MGTOW because of this. Do you know what that is?
No.
Men going their own way. It's basically monk mode. Like, you know the
Oh,
red
bro, monk mode. Yeah, I feel you on that. Like
red
monk
pill.
mode, like yeah, bro. Like no, I totally understand why you're saying that because it's like you don't like even like in the Western culture fucked it up so bad that like no like there aren't any like girls that are true to themselves anymore.
Yeah,
Like they don't love themselves and they don't respect themselves and they like try to go the easy way out. Like you got these like you got like Snapchat Premium, like
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, like
Yeah,
like porn is horrible. Like people should not watch porn. Like it fucks up your mind, it fucks up your body, like and like this is what they have as their role models.
dude, I was in a dark place one time. Like, I've been through those addictions. I know how like terrible it can be.
Yeah, like this is what's fucking up our society right now. Like this is what's like stopping us from evolving spiritually and growing.
Yeah, like, I realized like something like, do you know what NoFap is?
Yeah, no fat.
Like, I realized like the key to like unlocking your sacral chakra is like semen retention.
And how do you obtain semen retention for someone who doesn't know, like who's listening?
Semen retention is really just holding in your nut. Just you can have sex, but just like honestly, is it like I've never done it, but it's better if you. I imagine it's better if you like if you're on semen retention because you're actually forming a bond with somebody. Unlike you're just having sex with no meaning. Like you're not gonna find a girl on the street that wants to do tantra. You feel me?
No, I agree with you, and that's like what's come down to it. Like that's why porn's so bad. It's like or like just like sex in a relationship like right away is so bad because it like there's no like that's what it becomes about. It just becomes a physical thing, and like there's no really emotional like connection, or you don't like grow, like you don't have a true bond. Like you need to develop that, and then like
Yeah.
that sex can come later. Like like I wasn't big on that. Like I was just like on like, oh, like sex now, and it's it like it comes back and it bites you in the ass. Like I just got out of like a relationship, but like I decided to walk away from it because like I love myself more, and
Yeah.
like I was just like like dude, this is just holding me back from being a better me, and like I was like, dude, I'm worth it. This isn't.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to do, like you like if there's like you're having any doubts in any relationship where you're like trying to like overlook things, don't like if you're having a gut feeling, or you're like you're having some doubt, that's for a fucking reason. Just walk away, love yourself, and know that like there's the best is yet to come.
Yeah, bro.
That's a thing.
Like, just thinking about your twin flame, like, it makes you, like, happy and stuff. Like, thinking that, like, you'll meet your twin flame someday.
Yeah, bro, there's time and place. Like, people want success now, or they want everything now, but, like, instant gratification. You gotta be patient. Patience is a virtue.
Like, the good thing of, like, people that are on those journeys to, like, find their twin flame, like, the good thing about that is, like, they actually focus on raising their vibration, because they will only meet their twin flame when they're at the right vibration.
Exactly, brother. Exactly.
That's why you gotta chase your twin flame.
Bro, like when you were saying that, like you didn't love yourself, and like you wanted this girl, to love you. You can't. No, someone can't love you until you love yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because what is there to love?
Exactly. Like you gotta like wake up every day and like look in the mirror and be like, dude, I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah, I do that.
I'm like, I love, like, no matter what, like whatever happens, you gotta always love yourself, because you're always with yourself.
Yeah. Like, the girls may leave you, but at the end of your life, on your deathbed, you'll be the only one.
No, bro. I have two mantras of life. Okay, and I'm gonna just be raw with it. Like, hoes come and go, females come and go. Your niggas, your homies, your friends will stay, and your money will grow.
Oh, I like that.
So, females come and go, your money will stay. No, females come and go, your brothers will stay, and your money will grow.
I might have to use that mantra, but I might have to say wigga though.
And then here's the second one. I never lost $1 chasing a bitch, but I always lost $1 chasing a bitch. You know what I mean? I never lost a bitch chasing $1, but I always lost $1 chasing a bitch.
I get that.
Make sense?
Yeah, or like if you're thinking Minecraft, never waste your diamonds on a hoe.
Yeah, bro, exactly. Like, just like, like if you're trying to like be this guy who's like, trying to go above and beyond and like do all this, like, dude, it's not worth it, dude. Just like focus on yourself, like develop yourself. Like, you shouldn't even be in a relationship or try to get a girl until you like, I feel like, attained like certain things. Like, you're in a position in life where you can, like, you're ready for that.
Yeah, I feel that.
No, like straight up, like people are like it's like a woman's like a full-time thing, like until you gotta like first like master yourself, you can have like 20 women, like just like master yourself first and like be the best you, and once you're that version, then go and aspire and like do everything,
Yeah.
Like once we're not if we're not at that level, we can't like obtain, like consume knowledge or like give back knowledge, like properly.
Yeah, amen.
We won't be receptive to it. We'll be like ignorant to our own emotions, our own like actions towards others, and not perceive that we're doing it. I
feel like you have to have experienced inner peace before like you date in like your later life, because then you know how
Oh,
you should feel.
not only that, you have to have let go of anything that like any past like traumas or like say you had a girl who like cheated on you or whatever, you know. Now you're with another girl, and because of the first girl, now the second girl you're with, you're just like all the time like bad mouthing her or like suspicious and stuff. It's because you didn't let go of like what was holding you down from the
Makes
past.
sense.
So like now fast forward to now, like you know, like you still have had this label that was classified on you. Like, what do you think about it? Like, you know, like what are your thoughts on it now? Like, there's so many kids out there with autism or Asperger's or like ADD and things like that. Like, you know, like what's your thought now? And like, how are you just like, man, that's nothing. Like, I'm me. I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah, I just take gratitude for how far I came. Like, I don't look back at any of my phases and be like every phase I had served some type of purpose in my life, because everything aligns for a purpose. So I was just like,
Yeah, it's self development.
I take gratitude for myself every day for making it through the thoughts that I have. Um I just look myself in the mirror and be like I love you, bro. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel you, bro. Hell yeah. And like, bro, I'm gonna send you the name of that book because I want you to check it out and read it. And we're gonna have to do an episode on that book because that book a lot of people aren't gonna read that book, so we should just like cover like summarize that book in a podcast just
Yeah,
so we
definitely.
can get it out there.
Definitely. I'm gonna edit this part out because it's kind of like personal, but yeah, I'm gonna be on a dopamine fast without my phone.
Yeah. So yeah, I just think that how can we give like any lesson or like what how can we like what's the takeaway to anyone listening, you know, like who's like going through this right now, like just stay patient, like stay patient,
Trust the
come up with
process.
short yeah. The problem is a lot of people don't know the direction they're going, and they're just living every day as day to day, day to day, day to day, and like they have no direction or they don't know where they're going. You need to come up with some short term and long term goals, like clear goals, and like not only have these short term and long term goals, write it down, and then come up with a plan how you can execute them. And if you have that laid in front of you, you only have your vision out laid in front of you, and that's the only way you could succeed. Because like I didn't have that. Like I lived most of my life until I was like not until I was like fucking 24, 20. I was like late bloomer, 24, 25 to like I learned all this. I'm like, yo, man, I need to have a plan. I gotta like figure out what I'm doing. Like I can't just be like bobbing my head, just like what's up.
Yeah, one thing I'm blessed with is that I have direction. Like, I know my purpose, bro.
Bro, I knew my purpose, but like it's not like it's also having like a plan how to execute your purpose effectively and strategically.
Yeah.
It's like it's saying like there's a saying like good thoughts aren't enough alone to get in heaven. It takes an action as well.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you, like 100%. Like but like a lot of people just don't want to like take that action. They just like either they're like lazy or they got like comfortable in that comfort zone. Like people don't want to leave their comfort zone. Like I always like express that and like preach like getting out your comfort zone and like pushing yourself
I
to the
have a
max.
story about that.
Huh?
I have a story about why you should get out of your comfort zone.
All right, what's the story?
It's so crazy. So, I used to be in a rap group, right? And me and my friend were at the studio, and his friend came over, because his friend rapped too, and you know we went out to take some pictures, and his friend grabs out this hat. At the time, I had social anxiety so bad, but I still knew who XXXTentacion was, and he grabs out a hat that he went to a concert of XXXTentacion, and it was like it was signed all over the hat. Like he had words written all over the hat. Like I'm not capping at all. Like it was XXXTentacion's hat. Like, but I didn't ask at all to wear or even take a picture. I didn't ask to touch it because I was afraid to. I was afraid of what he would think. Like I was afraid of me being fanboyed out. And I look back at it now like, bro, that would have been a great profile picture. Or that would have been a great like thing for a time capsule to bury because I'm such a big fan, bro.
Bro, I love time capsules, and I think like we should all have our own personal time capsules, or like, you know, at the moment of like you know, good times, like write a letter to yourself, like, you know, like, oh, you know, like you're awesome, you know, and like put it in an envelope, seal it, and like if you're having like say like a month later, like you get in a car crash, your cat dies, or I don't know, you know, like you lose an arm, you fucking open that letter and you read it and you're like, damn, like you're reading your own writing, you know?
I know.
It's like it's a different psychology.
Yeah, I used to make videos every day, like on how I was feeling and stuff. And when I was like sad, I look back at those videos and be like, wow, like I was on some high stuff. Like I want to get back there again.
You can achieve anything.
Like I'm there now, but like I'm talking about a while ago.
No, yeah, I'm not talking about you now. You know, I'm just like speaking in like third person. But you know, the problem now, like, is this, like, we keep talking about it. It's like this matrix, and like everyone's like, it's so hard to unplug so many people. You know?
Yeah, some people though, you have to realize that they may not wake up in this life. It might be the next life. You never know, but
yeah, no, like what I realized is like your job is not to deplug them or to change them. Your job is to just tell them what's going on and inform them, and that's it. You're just a messenger, you know, and it's up to them to take the message or not.
Yeah, for me, like I don't necessarily like shove it down their throats because like people shove like
no. Oh, you can never shove anything. Like if you're trying to teach any human anything, you cannot like shove it in their face because the way we were created, we're not gonna take it. We're just gonna like fight back and like be like, yo, what the fuck? Yeah, what are you trying to tell me, huh?
Yeah.
Who the hell are you? You know, you gotta like be like, yo, I kind of have this problem, or like, you know, you gotta like come at it in a different angle. Otherwise, nothing's gonna like get solved. Do you agree?
Yeah, for me, what I was saying though is that like I open up a can of worms in a way. Like I'm like, yo, like my friends know I have autism. They know I get overstimulated, so I'm like, yo, you care if I go meditate outside for like 10 minutes just to recharge myself? And they're like, yeah, sure. And when I get back, they're like, what is meditation? How is it? And that opens up a whole can of worms.
Oh yeah, okay. Now that's what I'm like. I'm all about that. Like, so, like, just that's where, like, you know, you gotta always stay true to yourself, and that's when it will inspire others. It's when you like sacrifice or you like give up your own values that you don't have any purpose anymore. Like that like universal like energy's not there because you're not like you're not staying true to yourself.
I feel that.
So like, you know, like, no, what that means is like, you know, like if you meditate, like, you know, like own that shit, you know. They'd be like, yeah, I meditate, but like, say if you're around some people who are like, oh, you know, I go to the gym, you know, like I pump iron, you know, don't be like, oh, you know, like I'm starting to work out, like, you know, try to change, like,
Yeah.
just like always be you at every moment.
Yeah, I've caught myself lacking in the past a few times doing that.
Yeah, no, same here, brother. I've had that same problem. That's why, like, you know, like I'm only trying to like talk about it so like we're more aware of it and people like, you know, can like see it in themselves and change themselves too. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we pretty much hit everything on this. I want to just like send us off with like 2 quotes to just have like people think on that. You know, it's like what sets you apart can sometimes feel like a burden, and it's not. And a lot of the time, it's what makes you great. In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. Always remember that you're absolutely unique, just like everyone else.
I like that.
All right, brother. It was nice chatting with you again.
You too, man.
Until next time.
You're welcome to come on anytime.
Likewise, brother.
Yeah, alright, I gotta go. So, see you, man.
Yeah.